Momentum. Two passionate and busy moms sharing the quest to achieve entrepreneurial success.
This is Teresa Opstad
and Ariella Vaccarino, and we're here from
Momentum,
a podcast on mom entrepreneurs or mompreneurs.
Yes.
And today I'm going to start because I'm bringing on a family member today. I have known this woman, this fine woman and mother since she was 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I am married into her family, and she's an incredible person. Her name is Jess, Maul. And I'm so excited to tell her story and her journey. And I also like that we're bringing in somebody much younger who's a young mom. She has a 1.5-year-old daughter. And so she's right at the beginning of being a mom and an entrepreneur. And I think it's important that we show all the sides of it.
Yeah.
So I want to say hi.
Yes. Hi, Jess. I'm so happy to meet you. Ariel has told me so much about you. So we're so happy to have you on our show.
Thank you for having me on. I'm excited to have a little chat about momming and entrepreneurial and starting businesses and getting it all going.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And I want to talk a little bit about your history as I've seen it. But, you know, I knew her as a young girl who would change her outfits at like Christmas or at Thanksgiving. She always come out in different outfits. I mean, she literally was 4 years old when I met her. And and then you became a model. Clearly we all see why. She's a fantastic model. I mean, you
fantastic skin too.
She's a beautiful person, inside and out. But you also were the ring girl for, what was that fight that you were the ring girl for?
So it was Mayweather McGregor. So I used to ring card in boxing. I did a bunch of different things. I would travel on the weekends and do events, whether it was ring carding for boxing. So everyone's heard of Mayweather. I did some of those fights and some other. And then I did events. I was a spokesmodel. I did poster signings for tire companies and Rockstar Energy Drink. And I did this for many years. And then my bread and butter was during the week when there weren't events, I would do, you know, when you go shopping and you see the white background. So that's called e-commerce modeling. And it's so boring, but it makes great money and you get to put on outfits all day. So it's change, post, change, post.
Just like the 4-year-old little girl.
All
the costume changes. It was in you from that age.
I will say you were always working hard, and you know, you're not just a pretty face. You've always been a straight A student. I remember that you were a straight A student all through high school, and that I think you got your degree in psychology in college. Is that correct?
Yes. And I had always wanted to get my doctorate in psychology. But then when I went to college, I grew up watching America's Next Top Model. So when I was the right height, and I was always took care of my health and, you know, worked out and everything like that. So I was kind of thin.
It has nothing to do with genetics, Jessie. Nothing to do with genetics.
So I started modeling on the side to make a little extra money in college. And then I really fell in love with it. And I knew that it wasn't, you know, when you're little and you say, oh, I want to grow up and be this. And it ended up, I just wanted to have fun and make money and live this life where I was traveling all of the time and meeting really cool and interesting people. And I've had so many life experiences. I should have written a book. One time when I was ring carding. One time when I was ring carding, you might have to cut this out. I don't know, but Jack Nicholson gave me his number because I winked at him when I was like in the ring.
I love it. I love him, by the way.
So many weird things have happened to me.
Yeah.
I didn't call him. I'm just gonna say it's a little much for me.
I'm kind of glad about that. But yes.
Just a lot of interesting things happened. And one of the things was traveling. And that kind of stuck with me.
Yes.
And another thing was that I worked for this energy drink company and I got promoted to lead model. And then finally I would basically there'd be 8 or 10 models and I would have to organize them and pick them up in the rental car and manage that. So
a lot of managing skills are developing as you're modeling. So you're not just modeling, you were really involved with travel. I remember even when you weren't modeling, you were using your money to go travel places. Like you got this insatiable bug, and I was not jealous at all watching you travel from place to place when I was with my like babies. But yeah, you really have. So where you ended up now, this is all part of that story. She really had a love and a thirst for travel.
We're really interested in hearing about that as well.
Yes. So it really created this love of making my own schedule of, you know, if I want to show up to work, I'm going to make more money. And I just run that way because I've been doing it that way since I was 19. I like when I work harder, I see more return. I get more clients. I am busier. I am making more money, that sort of thing. So when I when I eventually transitioned into a full-time corporate job, I struggled because I don't like working really, really hard. And then your boss takes credit for this great project that you put together. You're making no more money. You're getting, you know what I mean? It's just.
So that's the entrepreneur like peaking out, like, you know, that's where you're learning. I can't be at this type of a job. You are a different kind of a person.
I'm a different kind of person. And I love the perks that come along with it. It's also, I mean, it's a little bit of a sacrifice too, right? You know that when there's no clients or no business going, it's a drought, right? If you have a full-time corporate job, you just get the same pay across.
No matter what. Yeah.
No matter what. But say January is a slow month, you know, you make more money in August and you just have to take those little, you know, the peaks and the valleys with that as well.
So, okay, so you're modeling and now you're the head model for this particular energy drink, and you start doing marketing for them, or what are you doing exactly?
Yeah, so I was able to build their influencer program. I was brought on full time, and to be honest, it was babes in bikinis posting videos and photos on Instagram, and I would go through Instagram and find beautiful women who had a big following and send them some product and some little branded items, and they would post, and that was my full-time corporate job. So that was kind of me transitioning.
So we might not qualify for that particular brand deal. Maybe not. But go on. Yeah, go on. She doesn't even know what to say.
I'd hire you in a second. I don't know what you're
thank you. You're so sweet. You're so sweet.
No, I'm talking about the bikinis. But
the bikini part for sure not. But I did have a little bit of taste of the world of, you know, modeling and acting and music, productions. When I was like in high school, I had this best friend who was beautiful, blonde, all that. And we would go on things together. They probably were only like, oh yeah, you can come along because we want her. But they put us in like a music video back in the day, right? And but I don't think the music video ever went anywhere because these were literally like student films, like people trying to put us in. So I had a little taste of it, but that's definitely not my life. But totally different life.
Okay, so you're doing all the stuff, you're learning all the stuff, you're doing the influencer thing. Now there's like a personal life that is also starting to happen at the same time.
Yeah. So at this point, I met my husband. It's been over 9 years since we've been dating, which is feels like a very long time to me. And so we met, and he was actually, people that I dated before had huge issues with me traveling and modeling, but he would go to the event too. He would fly with me,
that's so cool.
You know, so our lives really meshed, and he was traveling and doing a lot. And he actually works in the music industry. We'll get into more of that later because he's a pivotal role. But so we got married, and then by the time I'm working full time in my corporate job, you know, then COVID hits.
Yes.
And then get this, Pepsi buys Rockstar. And you know, when a big company buys a little company, they normally lay everyone off.
And so you were working at Rockstar when Pepsi bought it. Okay.
Yeah. So, and this was, I think like a week or two after COVID shut everything down. So I'm like, oh my God, the world is ending, you know?
Yeah.
And at this point, I've toned down the modeling. I'm no longer doing events. I don't want to travel. I want to have a baby. I want to be home with my husband. We're making this transition.
So you're pushing into your later 20s, right? You're pushing.
I'm about to turn 30. I'm now 29. And I'm thinking, you know, what's the next stage for me? Because although there are women who do model, you know, for a very long time in their 30s and 40s, I just knew that I was so ready. There's only so many photos you can take and so many of the same events you can go to where it's time to really transition and hone in on other skills and just grow and evolve.
The fact that you know that though, I mean, that just shows again why I have so much respect for you, that you were able to make this decision and have the foresight for it.
So then I somehow survived the layoffs and we transitioned. I'm now managing a brand ambassador and model program. At one point we had 500 influencers. Then we had about like 1,000 I was managing. If they were being used, we had a roster of over 1,000 people.
Wow.
So it was a lot. And I just couldn't do the Zoom calls all day. I couldn't do the working really, really hard. And I had now had a baby and I went back from maternity leave after 3 months. So I just felt like I was spending all this time working for this company that didn't appreciate me, that I would work nights and I would work weekends, and I'm missing this beautiful baby. She's so beautiful and she's growing up, and I'm missing these stages because I'm doing this job that they don't even, do they really care about me? You know, you're just another cog in the wheel. So I had, at this point, I had some friends who I was booking travel for the corporate company, for the models, for different independent contractors, and I was helping out with that. So I was booking travel in my corporate job, not getting paid anymore for it. And then
so you're getting experience.
I'm getting experience.
Right.
And some of my friends said, you know, I don't like planning out, and you always plan the best trips. Like Jeremy and I went to Cambodia and Vietnam for our honeymoon, and we've been through Africa, and we've been everywhere in Europe pretty much. And I've been everywhere from like Australia, New Zealand, Iceland, Peru, Colombia. Like we did it. We loved it. I'd still like to do some more, you know, someday, but I would plan these crazy itineraries for my husband, or if we were going for a group. So all of my friends loved that. And I started having people ask me, you know, hey, we're doing this 2-week trip in Hawaii, and it's in a couple of days, and I can't figure out how to do all of this stuff, and we're panicking. Can you please help me? I'll give you $1,000. And I'm like, wow, of course. So I dialed them out, and they had, you know, a chef, and I got them condos, and I got them their helicopter ride, or you know, just built out a whole itinerary for them. I had so much fun, made a little buck there. And I thought, this is fun. So then they hired me to be their full-time travel agent, and it kind of grew from there. And I started having more and more families. Meanwhile, my husband sees this and is like, this is where, you know, I think this is where you would be happier. He hated me working at this corporate job. He wouldn't tell me to quit if, you know, it wasn't to that point, but he could just see how unhappy I was and how hard I was working. And it just wasn't the best case scenario.
Right.
So
can I stop you real quick?
Yeah.
So timeline, because you just mentioned that during the pandemic. So when you're doing the travel for these people, was it through the pandemic? Was it coming out of the pandemic? What year was that you're talking about right now?
Perfect. So pandemic, so say March, in March of 2020, right? The company was bought and sold. I transitioned. We're making it to October of 2020 where I get pregnant. And then I'm about to give birth, and then this is all going on. So I'm booking the travel, and I'm booking stuff for the corporation, and I'm booking stuff for my friends. And then I have the baby. I'm on maternity.
So that booking time frame, that's like 21.
Yeah, 21 is when it all starts. And then early 22, my husband gets this huge music tour. He does the tour buses, like beautiful $1 million tour buses. He has, at this point, he has 71 that he manages. We live in Nashville, and he does I know, it's really beautiful. You have to visit.
Yeah, it's a recent move, and our family is not happy about it, but we're happy for her. But you know, I'm used to having this girl at all our holidays, and we you know, recently had to have some holidays apart, so it's a bummer.
Well, and the reason I asked the timeline, and I just want to insert right here in this timeline we were just talking about, it's so ironic that we're having this conversation and that this was your timeline, because in March of 2020, when the pandemic hit, is when I stopped my career in the travel industry. I was working at LA Tourism and Convention Board for 8 years, helping meeting planners and event planners come to the city of LA. And we worked all over the world. We had so many we had a huge office. We literally, and this is something I don't think I mentioned before. I was so proud that I was part of the team that brought in 50 million visitors to the city of LA, which was
Wow.
a goal we hit. We hit the goal earlier than expected. And it was just an amazing celebration that happened. I think it was in 2019, and then boom, the pandemic hit and it shut down travel. And so there were 90 of us laid off from the company, and meeting planners, event planners, hotel partners. There were so many people out of business at that point.
Yeah.
So even though that's when the company took over for you, it was great that you were able to kind of ride it out for just a little bit longer until travel started to come back. Because I remember living through that, because even though I was no longer employed in the industry, I was still part of the industry as president of PCMA, which is a travel organization. And I continued that presidency for another year. So I really saw what the travel industry looked like during that time. And it was struggling. But as this timeline is developing, I mean, it's like literally perfect timing for you, because just as you're talking about this travel that you started to do again is right when it started to come back. I mean, the hotel partners, the meeting planners, they would come together and collaborate on what this next phase looks like. And so many people would have to incorporate COVID policies and guidelines, and the whole industry completely shifted and changed. So I just want to share that little history, and the timeline is just amazing how this all worked for you.
Did you skip that, or are you still dealing with that? Well, you're still dealing with that with travel, aren't you?
Yeah, a little. We don't see it as much, and you don't, especially in Nashville. I was just saying to a friend a couple hours ago, I feel like it's not even there. People don't wear masks. You don't hear about anyone getting it. It's not as international of a city. It is still a big draw, but I feel like it's more people going in for road trips and that sort of thing.
I see.
Whereas and good, very good point, because like you just mentioned, every area reacted to COVID differently. There were definitely areas of the world that had less guidelines and others that had more. We're here in the city of Los Angeles, and they had high guidelines for that. So even getting people to come in during that time, they had a lot of restrictions. So, but continue.
But I mean, what you're right. When we started, it was, and I was still managing all of these models and brand ambassadors and having them travel in, and I had to give COVID. I had to do like a lecture basically to everyone new that I trained. I had to do a whole COVID lecture and that sort of thing. But now it's June of 2021. We're kind of coming out of that, and then even more so. And I think you make a great point in bringing that up. But I think there was a doorway open for me, because other people were laid off, just decided this isn't for me, and they changed and pivoted and did something else. So you were in, and I'm like, hey guys, not for me, got some work, so.
Absolutely. And that's such a good point, because so many, and I have witnessed and experienced so many people in that industry did a complete shift and went to
the industry.
They went to senior living, where I am now. And there's so many hotel and industry travel industry people that went to senior living, and as it started to open up, a majority of them came back. And I'm like, nope, I'm in senior living. I'm staying here. I'm not ever going back. Although it is absolutely an industry I loved working in. It was probably many people's dream job. There was so many perks and great parts of the job. I literally thought I was going to retire from there one year, eventually. But then the pandemic hit, and my whole personal experience happened, and I'm staying in senior living, but but it just
shifted.
That shift was just incredible.
I mean, I shut down with what I was doing forever, and then now I've opened it back up. So I tried something else during that time just to get me through it, and that's done. And now I'm back to me. So we've all done things like, we've all had to deal with it. So, okay. So you're at the point, and Jeremy is seeing that you're happier when you're doing the travel plans with your friends, and he has his company, the gorgeous
tour buses,
fancy luxury top of the line tour buses.
So they had this big tour, 21 buses, and they needed somebody to also book the flights and hotels.
When was this?
this was in February.
Okay.
And it kind of just landed on my lap.
Mhm.
And Jared was like, hey, I need you to start doing this like now. Like I got you a really big client, and I don't know if I want to say the client, but they're
I
like
know who it is.
a list, and I was sweating, and like I had to take the call, and I was so nervous because I knew what I was talking about a little bit, but not to the level of like a senior travel agent who's been doing this for 20 years, who knows everything. Like I'm just winging it, booking corporate travel for one corporation and some of my friends. Like I'm not licensed. I'm not, nothing. And I'm just like, yeah, and trying to roll with the punches. Somehow I got the client, and I just did it. And
Were you actually talking to him? I won't say who it is. Were you actually talking to him, or were you talking to his people?
Just his people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he has people that deal with all of them.
I would think so, but I like the thought of him like having a Zoom call with you. But go on. Yeah.
So that happened, and I was so busy. Now I am oh my God, I'm over my head.
But you still have your other job?
I still have my other full-time job. I'm doing this travel. I have a 6-month-old baby. I'm just being an open book here.
Yeah.
So then I ended up quitting my full-time job because I was like, this is going so well. And I just took that leap of faith that I can just do it, even though I was so scared. And I was able to quit my job, and we moved to Nashville. We unfortunately lost that baby. We were like halfway there. It's like 21 weeks, but we go on, and we have so much to be grateful for still. So now I'm taking on more clients, and most of them are coming from Jeremy's tours, which is great. It's just kind of like a little add in there.
Yeah.
And when I quit my job, one big thing that I did is I didn't want to have a babysitter. So I'm doing all of this while the baby is napping. I'm doing all of these things. So sometimes, we'll have an emergency situation and somebody will call and the baby's awake and she's squawking in the background. And I'm like, I guess I don't care. We're going to roll with the punches. But most of the time I have been managing starting this business with a baby, no babysitter, no school, nothing. Just we're just going to make it happen anyways.
Right. Yeah. And you moved away, so you don't even have your mom, babysitters in the next room. And so your company now is called
Jess Travel.
Jess Travel.
Kind of just travel, but Jess Travel.
Jess Travel. Jess as in Jessica, Jess Travel. That is so cool.
So did you say your husband's company's name was Jeremy's Tours, or just saying his tours? That's not the name.
His
okay, gotcha.
Company is Dreamliner Coaches.
Oh, gotcha. I was like, Jess Travel, Jeremy's Tours. I was feeling a theme there.
So, I just want to point out how this all happened, because we all kind of fall into situations in life, and we really have to look around and see what's around for us to layer upon. So, you have this whole history with always doing well in school, always being very organized. I know this about you. You're very, there's something very kind of like practical, organized, but yet you want to travel, you're not, so, I mean, your head isn't in the clouds. There's a practical thing about you, hardworking, but you seeking to see the world. Right. Yeah. And you're having all these wonderful experiences. And when I say just model, I mean, what I meant was just being like a regular model, right? But you weren't just a regular model, which has all the wonderful things entailed of modeling. You also got into marketing, and you started managing with the influencers, and then your husband, I mean, you were able to have this huge opportunity for travel because of what he was doing. But that's how life is. It's a friend of a friend. It's your husband. It's who it's your mom's friend's sister. It's like,
you have to take advantage of your network. That is what makes it so important. And sometimes maybe something else is a better opportunity because you have a better network for that opportunity.
Yeah, that's right. And the other thing is proximity is power. If you are in a situation, if you're at a networking event, whatever it is that you're going to, that's where you're connecting with people and you're making those networking connections as well.
So now what's your life like now as an entrepreneur? I mean, like, how long have you had an official name and become a company? Like, so what steps did you take?
Right. So you're catching me. I'm a new mom and I am a new entrepreneur.
Yes.
Because we're still building the company. I'm still looking at platforms. I'm still building my website. I need to buy the,
Domain name.
the domain name, and I need to get a web developer and put my website together. So I'm still kind of winging it, you guys. I do a good job and I know what I'm doing, but I'm not the established entrepreneur who's been doing this for 50 years. Like I'm in the
why
beginning
you're
of this
here
journey with you, you know.
But you have more success than so many people that are established because you're coming in with that connection and you're already dealing with really big clients, and it's almost like you're starting at the top and you need to just figure out the stuff that's at the bottom.
100%. That's how it is. I'm on.
And sometimes that's what you have to do. Like you say, take that leap of faith. That's what I did. Thanks to Ariella. And that's what you did. And I thought about this the other day in the shower, of course, best thinking in the shower.
Total.
But it was like, if you have an emotion about something, whether it's from your gut or from your heart, connect it to your brain and take action. Because I was like, oh my gosh, it's exactly what we've been doing with this podcast,
I mean, we had no idea. It just happened. So, and now all of a sudden we're like a TV show. I don't even know what's going on.
There's so much updates and technology, improvements that we've done along the way. So we look way better now than when we started.
I mean, it's that favorite quote I have from the Julia Cameron book from, I think, The Anonymous Person, which is leap and the net will appear. And, that's exactly what you did. You just did it. I remember actually once I was called by somebody I knew who was in a recording engineer session, and he was literally like a little peon in the session, and the choir didn't show up. And this was on a big movie. And he calls me because he knew I could sing. And he said, can you put a choir together? And I personally was not in choirs. I was an opera singer, but I knew so many people in choirs. I said, yes. And I got that night, I contracted a full-on choir. And these were professional choral singers who had been on all these movies. And I remember this event, and all of them were staring at me because I was in my early 20s. And they were trying to figure out who I was and I had no idea what I was doing. I was fake it till I make it. I'm like, I'm going to get amazing people and just get them there. And I'm just going to kind of stand back and watch. And that was an insane experience, but that's exactly what happened to you right there.
And sometimes the best lessons are learned while you're on the ground running. Like the things that I've learned, I've definitely made mistakes. I'm probably going to make a couple more. Hopefully not with big time people or make a big thing. But I will say that when you make those mistakes and it's like you're learning that lesson, and there's no better school than the school of life. So
you're learning by doing. I mean, you went to school for being a travel agent. I'm not knocking that down, but it's very different than an applied, actually you doing it, working with the people and being in real life situations.
And I feel like also working with people, that is such a skill that translates across everything, no matter what you're good with. If you have anything to do with people, if you're good with people and you can make that connection with them and really, really just bond with them and make them feel good and make them feel heard and seen, they will come back to you. Well, if you have that loyalty with people, they will have that back with you. So I feel like that's also very important as well.
100%. I mean, the travel industry is really hospitality industry in one, and it's you're being hospitable to who is coming to visit you or who you're sending off to, travel somewhere else. It's all about the experiences that they're feeling during that travel that continues to build that travel industry. And that's why hospitality, it was so easy for people to shift from doing meetings and events or hotels, salesperson, to senior living, because that's the same skill level that you need to be able to help somebody in their home where they're, they need care, they need food, they need activities. I mean, there's so many communities that look just like a hotel and that feel like you're on a cruise ship. There's so many times I hear people say, oh, this place is like a cruise ship on land. They are very similar industries that do completely different things, but that those skills are all transferable.
And I want to just reach out now to the moms listening to this. It's that skill that Jess was just talking about, when you have this talent for listening to people, working with them, making them feel like you're taking care of them. So many moms are doing that. I mean, if you're the mom who's running the class mom or the PTA, or you're the head mom at baseball and you're handing out the cupcakes after the party, you're managing. And just because you may not have that business that maybe you really want, doesn't mean you have not created those skills and that you're not amazing at those skills. When you're good at getting other moms come and volunteer because we're having the special school dance, and you put all of that together, that just puts you right into any business that you may want to start.
Yeah. I mean, when I took about 4 years off when I had my son. It's still in the hospitality industry, but I had taken 4 years off for multiple reasons. He was having, a hard time in the beginning. I needed to be there for him. But through those 4 years and getting back into the, the employment industry, just getting back to the world of working, I put that on my resume. I'm like 4 years mom, but I list everything I did. I'm a caretaker. I'm a chef. I'm a meeting planner. I listed everything that a mom does. And, that's the thing, just being a mom, you cover so many skills, that you can do anything.
The longest part of your whole resume is the mom. Like when you list everything that you have to do, it's literally, it takes a whole page.
It's like at front and back.
Exactly.
So Jess, you wrote about something about how you like to what did you say? Habit stack?
Oh yes. I love habit stacking. Yeah.
Please talk to us about that, because I think we all do it, but you put words to it. So
Okay. So I actually got this from another podcast that I listen to a lot, and they talk about habit stacking. And you're right, we already all do this. You
can name the podcast. It's okay. We can tag them.
Yes. And we love to share. This is all about the journey and what we learn.
Yeah. So him and her podcast, The Skinny Confidential. It's called The Skinny Confidential. It's really good. I think it's one of the most popular podcasts ever.
Oh, okay.
Most listen to.
But should know about
hopefully we'll be there one day.
Yeah, you're next. So
we're next. We're right behind you.
So what I like to do is when you're a mom and you're an entrepreneur as well, and you're starting to build a business, anyone should want to maximize their time, right? I am all about maximizing my time and getting the most out of it. And I feel like I've become a more productive person since becoming a mom, because it's not like you have to plan your day or you're not going to get anything done. Like you can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go out drinking and I'm going to wake up when I wake up, and maybe I'll work out tomorrow. Maybe I'll grab a coffee or, and just see where the day takes you. No, the baby has you up at 7 a.m. You have to do the breakfast, clean the kitchen, do this, put away the laundry. Then it's time for her nap. Now I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to get my home workout in while she's napping. And then I'm going to open my emails and I'm going to get all my emails out. And then I'm going to do this trip and build this itinerary. And then I'm going to do my spreadsheets and my invoices. Okay, she's up. Time to go for a walk. We need to go to the store. We're going to, so you get what I'm saying, right?
Like, that would be the real.
Absolutely. But I have to stop you there. You just nailed it. And that's so much of what I think in my head of like what we should be like, right? But let me tell you, my first year was not that. It was, thank God he's napping. I better take a nap too. Oh God, thank God he's napping. I need to run and do the dishes. I was not working. I did take the 4 years off. So it is different, but but at the same time, it was like, that was my sleep time too, because there is literally so much we do.
I mean, Jess has always been just like very practical and planned her time. Like I said, she's a straight A student who's extremely organized, and it carries on into her motherhood as well. I mean, she's the same person. Yeah. Right. So you're doing everything very different. I was telling Teresa before, I'm like, she's totally not like me. Like I'm just like whirlwind, like all this stuff happens in these bursts, but you are organized and planned, and it's fascinating to me. You're much more like your uncle or my husband. So but yeah, so you are, you're an organized person.
I feel like you need the creative person, and you need the right brain creative person and the left brain like organization person. Okay, so habit stacking. So let's go back to that. Is when you do a bunch of habits at once, like something mindless with something that's you need to think about. So you do this all the time. So one of my favorite ones is when I listen to a podcast or maybe a webinar, something like that, listening to something, really thinking about it. I'll take the baby and the dogs for a walk. So I'm entertaining the baby, the dogs are getting exercise, I'm getting exercise, we're all getting fresh air, we're getting sunshine, I'm listening to something, and maybe I have a hair mask in my hair. So it's really just like a really good task or habit stacking. So you're getting a bunch of good habits in at the same time. So you're really maximizing that time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're not just going to sit at home and listen to a podcast for 40 minutes
and do nothing.
And then you're going for a walk for 40 minutes. And then you know what I mean? So you put them all together. So some of the other ones that you can do is like, you know, maybe sit in the sauna with a face mask and you're, you know, doing a business call, something like that, where you're just putting them all together and you maximize
a business call, but not
what
a
you're
business
doing.
Zoom.
So not a Zoom.
You're not on a Zoom. You're definitely not. Or you could, and just, you know, you're the owner of the company, so they can't tell you.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Or you take a hot bubble bath with a face mask and you read your book and, you know, have a health tea. So that's what I'm talking about. I love habit stacking. And I feel like you can maximize like your self-care and growing as a person and becoming a better person by putting all of these together at once.
I love it. I do it. I didn't know there was a name for it. Like, you know, in the shower, I'm always listening. I'm listening. Sometimes I'm sitting here crazy.
It's like, I still don't understand how she takes the picture while she's in the shower.
There's nothing risque about what we're talking about. It's terrible.
Head up, head from the head up.
I get ideas and I send pictures of my face, but I will put, you know, on the little ledge, and I want to learn about hashtagging on YouTube or something. So I'm listening to that while I'm taking a shower, while I'm doing a hair mask, or I'm driving to my improv class, but I'm listening to one of the modules on Tony Robbins' session. Mastermind that we're listening to, you know, and it just, I don't think I could just sit and listen to a podcast. I'm going to be on my Peloton listening to a podcast or cooking. Cooking is a great time to get information into your head.
Yep. Cooking and walking are my number 1 and 2 ways of listening to podcasts.
I'm a little nerd. A little bit, but I like to put my VR on and do puzzles. Don't even ask. It's a whole thing. I'm such a puzzle freak. And I play live comedy. There's not live people in there, but I'm listening to comedy and I'm doing that. That's how I relax, you know. So we also need to relax.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's an important thing to add in, is that you as moms and as people who work, or just anyone in general, I mean, self-care is such a big thing already. That's nothing new, but I think especially us, because where do you get the time in the day? You literally are taking care of kids from the second you wake up to probably right before you go to bed. So you have to find, like, for me, it's always at the end of the day, I try not to work unless I really have to. I totally will. But I always try to leave this chunk of time at the end of the day after the baby's in bed. I try to do dinner with the baby, and then, you know, we do a family dinner. And then at the end of the day, I just want to read a book and take a bath. Whatever it might be. But I think it's important, even 30 minutes of just saying, this is my time for me and nothing else, and not to like put the phone away and just to do something for you, whether that's like your face mask or your puzzles in your VR or your
my husband totally makes fun of me. But
some of the other things you were passionate about as to why you wanted to start this business, especially because you can fit in all this stuff as being a mom and as a boss, being able to do it the way you want to do it, whether you're in your sweatpants or not.
Yeah.
I want to be in my sweatpants, and I don't want somebody to tell me I need to wake up and look put together and go to an office. Like, I am just not that person. And so for me, that's why that's one of my favorite reasons I love about having my own business.
I mean, you're brand new, but you have so much success already. What are you looking to do?
So I just want to expand. Right now, I'm really happy that things are at the pace that they're at. I of course want more business, but eventually I'd like to, you know, maybe open an office. I definitely want to get an assistant, but it's an office that I don't have to go into every day. Do you know what I mean?
An office I don't go to.
An office for your assistant to go to.
Yeah. But I would like to grow in that way. But right now I'm really content with just slowly taking it and learning as I'm going. And I don't want to take on too much at the beginning and just overwhelm myself. We're slowly, incrementally taking on more and more clients. And I like to get to know my clients, and they're weird. I only want to sit at the very front of the plane in the aisle, or like I only stay at Ritz-Carlton's, or like these very specific weird things that people like to do. So I like to get to know them and just do a good job for them and make them feel comfortable and build that relationship. I feel like that's how I'm just going to grow my business. And maybe eventually when the kids are grown and out of the house, I'll be that person that gets invited to these insane, like the Ritz-Carlton Yacht Week in Croatia, and like all like just nice things, because I'm such a good travel agent, and I have so many clients that they want me to go to these things. I'll always be traveling. But for right now, this kind of scratches that itch for me that I'm not traveling as much to exotic places, so I can book other people to exotic.
Or you could say, okay, I planned this fabulous trip for you, and then you book one on the side for yourself, and then just basically say, I have to be there to make sure everything goes perfect for you.
Of course. Full concierge service.
Yes, full concierge. I will be by your side the whole time.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a margarita in my hand the whole day. Don't think that's weird.
I have to test it for you. We have to make sure it's okay.
I'm gonna have one of each and then tell you which one is the best one for you.
Exactly.
And Jess, also, you also don't know what your future holds. I mean, you're so young. You're in your early 30s right now, and you've got a young child. You don't know if your family's going to grow. You don't know what's going to happen with your business. And who knows, you were modeling for years. You may end up, once your kids get older, being a host on some sort of travel TV show. I mean, you never know. The world is open to you, and you're getting all these experiences. This is just where you are right now.
And the experience that you had as an influencer, there's so much that can layer into, like you were just saying. So it's amazing. So now I can only imagine what an event planned by Jess Travel would look like. But for our audience, can you kind of take them from step A to all the way to Z? I mean, even when it comes to like picking them up, and do you have to schedule transportation to get them to the airport?
What do you have to do?
So kind of walk us through what an event would look like that you would help them with.
What do you plan?
Okay, so where do you want to go? Pick a place. Where are we going, ladies? Pick
the Bahamas.
Where?
The Bahamas.
Okay, love it. So I'd say for this trip,
and I'm drooling already.
Do you like to stay? Are you more of like a Four Seasons gal because they have a beautiful, very beautiful Four Seasons there? Or are you more like a yacht kind of girl?
Yacht. I'm a yacht person.
I'm more of a hotel person that would love to stay on the yacht for a day, or maybe even just a day trip.
Okay, perfect. So this is your trip. You can customize it any way you want. So I'll ask these questions, but basically if you want, the full luxury, I would put you at the Four Seasons because it's beautiful. The beach is pristine. It's just, the whitest sand and the bluest water, and it's down from the Atlantis. So it's, it's a little bit more adult, and it's magical. It's in all these trees, and it's
you've been to the Bahamas.
I went to the Bahamas for my baby moon, so I could post a photo that said Bahama Mama.
That's cute. I'm gonna have to do that.
So I customize it to whatever you want. So you want to stay in the Four Seasons? Let's stay in the Four Seasons. Do you want a villa, or do you want to go with your family? Is this a girls' trip? Are you going with your kids? So you want like a villa with a couple rooms? Who's going?
Well, we're moms, so of course we have to bring our kids.
Let's get the villa. Let's get like the 4-bedroom villa maybe, so we can have 2 kids' rooms, and then you can each get your own room. We'll of course have a luxury pickup. We'll probably have a couple of sedans to pick you up from the airport.
Sedans, yes. Because this is a luxury trip. We go in sedans, not sedans, sedans.
Now I'm a vegetarian, so are you going to be able to deal with my food issues?
Of course. We're planning meals. There's some beautiful restaurants on property, so maybe a couple of nights there, maybe the first night, because you're just kind of getting there. Maybe you want to jump in the pool and not have to go off property for dinner. So maybe you'll have a dinner there. And then the next day, just, what do you want to do? Do you want to go get massages at the spa to unwind. From
Oh,
your
that
travel
sounds
day.
that sounds great. Yes, that, and I really want to go on that yacht you talked about.
Okay, day 2. Let's do like a, if you want to do a beach day and spa day and just relax at your beautiful property, then day 2, there's the island with all of the pigs. So you can go with the swimming pigs. So you can take a boat. Yeah. And then you can take a yacht and go to the swimming pigs and go jump in the water, have all the kids jump in the water. Anyway, I can plan it however you want. You can do all the excursions. You can do the snorkeling or the stand-up paddle boarding or all of the adventures.
That's
That's
really
awesome.
cool.
I already
I
picture
love it.
myself there. When you started talking, I almost said, wait, I got my visual now. I'm in the Bahamas.
So basically I customize it to whatever people like. I just ask them questions. I do a little research and make sure that I know everything that's going on. And then I'll do a phone call, or I do a lot of texts. And then there's people who are just business travelers. So they're saying, hey, I need to get to Dallas by, 10 a.m. on Tuesday. It's very straightforward.
Yeah.
Hey, I need a hotel, just very straightforward, this and that. But I do love building those itineraries to customize to whatever people want.
It's so cool. I'm so proud of you.
The sky's the limit for you too. I mean, I don't know if you are already or thinking of working with meeting planners and event planners too, but I mean, it's when it comes to travel, you could. I love everything you just said, and being from the industry, it was fabulous. You nailed it, and I just think that you could really do anything with this business, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how your business grows.
Well, maybe she will schedule one of our large events for mompreneurs somewhere. Absolutely
mamacation.
You have your travel agent.
I do.
Yes.
I know I do.
Your mompreneur travel agent.
And you can have her too if you just follow the links below.
Yeah, Jess Travel. Well, Jess, thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait to see you for real. And because we are family.
Yes.
And I'm really excited everything you're doing. And we always end our show by saying follow your dreams together. So we're going to count to 3 and we'll all say it. You ready?
1, 2, 3.
Follow your dreams, mamas. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Mom and Tom. Two passionate and busy moms sharing their quest to achieve entrepreneurial success.